When it comes to acting range, some performers explore the human condition through chameleonic transformation, losing themselves entirely in the role. And then there's Vin Diesel, a man whose range is so specific, so distilled, it might as well be trademarked. He doesn't vanish into characters. He repeats himself into them. Watching a Vin Diesel performance is less like watching a new character and more like tuning into a syndicated rerun. There's a comfort in that for some people. A sense that no matter the plot, the setting, or the genre, you'll always get some combination of gravel voice, stoic stare, and the faint scent of motor oil and family. But let's not pretend it's variety. Vin Diesel has played more than 11 different men with 11 different names, and somehow they're all the exact same guy. Let's start off with the Fast and the Furious series. Dominic Toretto is undeniably his most iconic role, which is saying something, because it's also the one where he has to do the absolute least. Dom is less of a character and more of a slogan generator with deltoids. From the start, he's introduced as the mythic center of the Fast and the Furious. A street racer, gearhead philosopher, and protective big brother all rolled into one. In that first film, there's at least a semblance of subtlety. Dom has wounds, he's hiding pain about his father, he fears becoming the violent man he once was, and he distrusts authority. Diesel leans into this with a level of restraint, giving the character a gruff sincerity that works in the quieter moments, like when he tells the story about brutally beating a man with a wrench. That scene, in 2001, was probably the most emotionally open Dom would ever be. It hinted at a complexity, a man who lives on adrenaline, but carries deep scars. But the moment the franchise blew past underground races and into global espionage territory, Diesel dropped any pretension of nuance and made Dom a cartoon saint. Suddenly, he's not just a guy trying to keep his crew together. He's out driving submarines and getting crucified in midair by bad CGI. What's strange is that while the stakes of the films escalate exponentially, Dom himself doesn't change that much. There are deaths, betrayals, surprised children, secret siblings, but Diesel reacts to each with the same furrowed brow and 5-second pause before growling a line about family and handing someone a Corona. The man's child is used as a bargaining tool. His presumed dead girlfriend returns, his enemies become allies, and through all this, Dom evolves about as much as a parked car. There's no character arc, only character repetition. He starts every movie stoic and ends it more stoic, with a barbecue or two in between. The only consistent growth is his ability to defy gravity. Diesel performs him with a kind of self-serious reverence, as if Dom is a Shakespearean figure rather than a guy who once said,
"I live my life a quarter mile at a time."
It's not that Dom Toretto hasn't had opportunities for depth, he's had dozens. It's that Diesel doesn't seem interested in pursuing them. The performance gets broader, louder, and more mythic, but never more human. Whether he's pulling off a heist with a car, leaping across interstates, or surviving physics-defying stunts, Dom remains emotionally bulletproof, and he delivers each line like it's carved into stone. While that might seem like consistency, it borders on parody. When you've watched 10 movies of a man growl about family like it's a religious doctrine, the only real arc is how tight his tank top gets over the years. Then there's XXX, another franchise that tried to build a persona around Diesel's naturally intimidating energy. As Xander Cage, he's basically Dom Toretto with a snowboard. He brings the same dead-eyed charisma, the same vocal register, and the same approach to line delivery. Monotone conviction with a dash of confused pride. The character is supposed to be an extreme sports junkie turned secret agent, but Diesel plays him like he's reading every line off a teleprompter behind a mountain of steroids. There's no arc, no subtlety, no real tension. Just a guy who enters every scene like he's already the coolest person there and exits having changed absolutely nothing about himself. In the Chronicles of Riddick series, Diesel had the chance to stretch a little. Riddick is a sci-fi anti-hero, a criminal with enhanced vision and a mysterious past. This kind of premise is ripe for emotional depth. I mean, a man surviving across hostile planets, hunted and hated, forced to reckon with his own brutality. That's got the potential to be an instant classic if executed correctly. But surprise, surprise, Diesel takes the role and drains it of all that potential. Riddick ends up just being Dom Toretto in space. Same voice, same posture, same hollow machismo. Even when the character is supposed to be vulnerable, Diesel performs it with the same stoicism he uses when talking about carburetors. He's supposed to be Diesel's gritty, nihilistic alter ego. The character he believes actually showcases his acting range. In Pitch Black, it sort of works. Stripped down, low budget, and leaning into horror thriller territory, the film treats Riddick less like a superhero and more like a ticking time bomb, unpredictable, brutal, maybe even villainous. Diesel plays him with restrained menace, letting the silence and those silvery contact lenses do most of the acting. It's minimal, sure, but effective. He grunts, squints, and delivers one or two memorable lines like he's allergic to using adjectives. But when he returned for the sequel, The Chronicles of Riddick, everything explodes. Suddenly he's become the chosen one instead of a lowly space convict, the heir to a long-lost race, battling necromongers in oversized armor while whispering his way through monologues. Diesel tries to give the same cool detachment, but now it's surrounded by lore-heavy exposition and try-hard mythology that makes him feel like a teenager's OC from a Dune fanfic. By the time we get to Riddick in 2013, the franchise dials it back, well, sort of. It tries to split the difference between the stripped-down survivalism of Pitch Black and the overly serious world-building of Chronicles. And yet, Diesel is still committed to playing Riddick with a single facial expression and the emotional bandwidth of a broken vending machine. His dialogue is sparse, his tone rarely shifts, and even when he's being hunted by dangerous bounty hunters or fending off alien predators, there's no real tension in the performance. Riddick's never in real danger because Diesel refuses to let him look vulnerable. This is a man who gets stabbed, shot, left for dead, and still talks like he's narrating a cologne ad. The irony is that Riddick should be the most dynamic role he has. It's an anti-hero in a savage universe. But instead of leaning into complexity or internal conflict, Diesel plays him like he's too cool to care. And after 3 movies, it starts to feel less like a character and more like Diesel's personal power fantasy stretched thin over sci-fi wallpaper. Let's talk about The Last Witch Hunter. This is Diesel in full cosplay mode. A long coat, a magical axe, and a centuries-old curse. You'd think maybe this one would let him break type, maybe lean into the mystical, the strange, the ethereal. You'd be wrong. Instead, Diesel brings the same gravel and squint energy and recites ancient dialogue like it's a Verizon contract. His immortal warrior doesn't carry centuries of wisdom. He carries the same emotional toolkit he uses in every other movie, quiet, threatening, and allergic to actual emotional complexity. There's no sense of wonder, no mythical weight, just another Diesel character with a sword instead of a steering wheel. Even in Bloodshot, a film literally about a man being resurrected with nanotechnology and becoming an unstoppable killing machine, he finds a way to make it flat. The premise is high concept, but his performance is grounded in the same low-register muttering and clenched jaw stoicism we're used to. Bloodshot wakes up from death, realizes he's being manipulated, and goes on a revenge spree. But his reactions are so muted, so devoid of variation, that the entire character journey feels like a straight line. There's no arc, just an automatic response. You could replace every emotional beat with Diesel stares and breathes heavily, and you wouldn't miss anything from the story. Now, look at Find Me Guilty, the one movie critics like to bring up when defending his range. And yes, technically, this is the one time he does something different. He wears a wig, cracks a smile, and plays Jackie DiNorcio, a real-life mobster who defended himself in court. And yeah, I'll admit it, he's not bad. He displays glimpses of timing, vulnerability, even warmth. But the issue isn't whether he can do something different. The issue is that he never does. It's the exception that proves the rule. Diesel retreats back into safety immediately after, returning to the familiar terrain of stone-faced men with justice fetishes. Babylon AD is another wasted opportunity. A dystopian action thriller where Diesel plays a mercenary escorting a genetically engineered girl across a crumbling world. The movie tries its hardest to be emotional, prophetic, moody, but Diesel plays it with all the existential weight of someone ordering takeout from Popeyes. Even when the story leans into ideas of redemption and sacrifice, he never sells it. He walks through scenes like he's already read the ending and knows he survives, robbing the movie of any stakes. His inability to deviate from his signature tone makes every plot twist feel like a speed bump. It's almost poetic that Vin Diesel's most emotionally impactful role is also the one where he's restricted to saying "I am Groot" over and over again in various tones and volumes. And yet this limited canvas brought out more nuance than nearly all of his live-action roles combined. In the original Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot is introduced as Rocket's silent muscle, gentle giant meets wrecking ball, but as the film unfolds, his selfless nature becomes the beating heart of the team. Diesel, to his credit, finds subtle inflection in the repetition. You can actually tell when Groot is confused, proud, annoyed, or quietly pleased, not because the words change, but because the cadence behind them does. James Gunn reportedly recorded thousands of takes of Diesel saying the line, each one calibrated to specific moments. And in the film's final act, when Groot mutters the slightly altered
We are Groot.
It lands like a punch to the gut. But the emotional weight of Groot doesn't stop there. After the original Groot sacrifices himself to save the team, the sapling that grows in his place, Baby Groot, and later Teen Groot, becomes an unexpected emotional through line across the trilogy. Diesel's vocal performance continues, this time more playful, more petulant, but still weirdly affecting. By Volume 3, we see Groot evolve again, bulked up, wiser, still limited in language, but more expressive in presence. And in the film's final moments, when he speaks a new phrase that the audience hears for the first time as actual words,
I love you guys.
it's less about breaking a gimmick and more about completing an emotional arc. Ironically, Diesel's stripped-down, restrained voice acting achieves what his other performances rarely do: vulnerability, evolution, and a genuine connection with the audience. Knockaround Guys gave him a shot at a supporting role, where maybe he wouldn't have to carry the entire film. He plays Taylor, a tough enforcer type, and there's a monologue in there about how 500 fights are what make you a man. It's actually a decently written scene. It's supposed to be a window into the psychology of a violent man justifying his life choices. Instead, it's just Vin Diesel explaining his gym schedule in a metaphor. No rising action, no internal conflict, just brute force exposition. In Boiler Room, Diesel plays Chris Varick, a fast-talking stockbroker in a den of wolves, and while he's not the lead, he has a chance to show some charisma. There are moments, brief flashes, where he comes across as slick, confident, even entertaining, but again, the performance is surface level. His delivery is polished but hollow. He doesn't let the character simmer in the world. He simply recites it like a checklist of cool guy traits. There's no sense of someone chasing status, wealth, or escape, just a guy hitting his marks and collecting his paycheck. The most exhausting thing about Diesel's performances isn't the sameness. It's that each role comes with the illusion of something deeper. His characters often flirt with emotional stakes, a lost brother, a tragic past, a personal code, but those moments are treated like speed bumps, not scenes. Diesel doesn't explore those dimensions. He acknowledges them like bullet points. He looks sad for a second, then goes right back to scowling and monologuing about loyalty. It's like he can't help himself. No progression, no unraveling, simply a man stuck in permanent grimace mode. Despite this, he continues to lead billion-dollar franchises. What he lacks in acting chops, he makes up for in branding and marketability. People go to his movies not for the story or the character. They go for the Diesel experience trademark. They know they'll get a certain tone, a certain rhythm, a certain image. He's industrialized his persona. It's less about performance and more about product consistency. In conclusion, Vin Diesel is the cinematic equivalent of a black tank top. Reliable, rigid, and absolutely incapable of surprise. His body of work is a testament to staying in one lane and refusing to yield. While other actors challenge themselves, expand their toolkits, Diesel shows up to set with the same expression, same cadence, and same commitment to emotional minimalism, and generates the same revenue in one film what other stars do in 5. He doesn't morph, he doesn't stretch, he parks himself in a franchise and rides it until the wheels come off. So when we say he has no range, it's not an insult, it's a not-so-subtle observation. An actor who's played a spy, a street racer, a tree, a vampire hunter, and a space outlaw, and somehow made them all feel like the same dude? That's almost more impressive than being a great actor.